Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the second episode of the marriage jurisprudence, which is the fiqh al-nikah fil Islam. We've got a couple of things. We have some couple of technical issues. It seems that we need to approve. Yeah, I think that's sorted. Yeah, it's all sorted now. I hope you can hear me. And inshallah, this I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that this episode, inshallah, will be beneficial to all of you and you will benefit from it, whether they were Muslim or not Muslims, because some people are interested to know about Islam as well. And one of the great things about Islam is the organization of the marriage and nikah. How subhanAllah Allah Azza wa Jal have mentioned in great details in the Quran about the nikah, about the marriage, about the divorce, and the things that's related to subhanallah. So there's something that Islam is something big on it, and there's a lot of instructions and things that you have to learn in order to, inshallah, build up this successful marriage unit that will, in order also, in turn, it will create, inshallah, the great ummah, the great nation, which is play a great part in building the whole of the globe. And the thing is, brothers and sisters, we are not isolated. We don't live in isolated communities or countries. We live together in one global village. If somebody did something bad in China, the rest of the world will become ill. So we do have global responsibilities, and when you work with yourself and work on building up the good family, inshallah, that will enhance and then improve the overall global village. So with the marriage, the first episode we talked about the pillars of the zawaj, of nikah. We also talked about the conditions. We talked about how, inshallah, somebody will seek to have the spouse that will be suitable for them, and the conditions. And what I mentioned is the harmony is one of the most important things to have in the marriage. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the duties, responsibilities, and also about the Qawamah. And the Qawamah, it's very hard to explain it in one word or translate it in one word, but if we can describe it, it's the leadership of the family, it's the guardianship of the husband, it is the it's the leadership that will involve also taking decisions, saying yes and no, and having and be the guardian of the how the family unit and dynamics and the direction in life and the well-being of the unit. It also involved the spending, providing, to be the bread earner, and we're gonna come to this inshallah. So to start with, there is common rights that both men and husbands and wife have. They both have that right because it's dynamic, as I said, between two people that we need to pay attention to. It's a relationship that, inshallah, that would last in this dunya and the hereafter, in this life and hereafter, that will be based on harmony, based on both bring something to the table in a way, bring something to this relationship and dynamic that will make it a whole, and together, inshallah, they will build up the family together. First and most things that what Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran, which is al-mawaddatu wal-rahma. Al-mawadda, as we said, as we mentioned in the first episode, it is great affection and love and caring. And the caring, rahma is caring, is mercy and caring. And we mentioned them. And that's based on what Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِنْ أَزْوَاجِكُم من أنفسكم أزواجا تسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة. That's in Surah Al-Rum, verse 21. So from there, the both have the right for sincerity, for being faithful to one another, and that will include also protecting one's shortfalls, protecting their secrets. Don't disclose to others what's been mentioned to you. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did say in the narration that Sahih Muslim, إن من أشر الناس عند الله منزلة يوم القيامة الرجل يفضي إلى امرأته وتفضي إليه ثم ينشر سرها. So Allah Azza wa Jal, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that Allah Azza wa Jal, the worst of the people Yawm al-Qiyamah is the one that a man will talk to his wife and the wife will speak with him, and then he will go and spread the secrets of his wife, and vice versa as well. So that will come to mention, it leads naturally to talking about betrayal. Betrayal was that it was talking, action, even by look. It's not acceptable, and it's mutual right for both of them is to have that honesty and dignity and protection. Talking about honesty, the Muslim by nature, he is a sincere person. They are sincere people. They should be always saying the truth and be truthful and faithful. But we have to be aware that lying is allowed in 3 cases: in war, in trying to bring people together in peace. People who have, for example, fallen out to try to bring them together, you're allowed to lie. But also the man is allowed to lie to appease to his wife. So, for example, if she lost weight or gained on weight and she doesn't look the way that she would love, for example, or something happened, he would appease to her by, even if he's not true in his eyes, he would still lie and say, "You're beautiful and I love you." I'm not saying it should be loved anyway. I'm not saying he should be lying about it, but to appease to her and try to build up her confidence and morale. Even you won't usually know if a man is lying, but they would be happy with the effort that the man is putting. We did mention the kindness in the first episode. We mentioned again, and I mentioned again, because kindness and mercy it goes a long way. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam did say, ما كان أن الرفق لا يكون في شيء إلا زانه ولا ينزع من شيء إلا شانه. And that's in the Sahih Muslim. So it says kindness, if it ever be in something, it always makes it beautiful. If you take it away from anything, it will be bad, the one that left. So we always have to be, it's mutual right to be kind to each other. So being honest doesn't mean that you be brutally honest and then you don't care how the other person the spouse would feel, because you said the truth and it's honesty. That doesn't cut it. So you need to be kind, you need to be also wise, and if sometimes that you'll have to say a hurtful truth, be kind in the way you break that truth. And there's something called the criticism sandwich, which is compliment, truth, the hurtful with kindness, and then compliment. So that's the criticism sandwich. And we have to learn that, because if anything is more worthy of our kindness, it's actually our spouses, our family. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did say, "Khairukum khairukum li ahli." So it says the best of you is the best of you for their family, and that goes for men and women. So kindness and being really kind and lovely, and deal with the others, deal with the spouse with really what's is classed to be high manners. وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, Allah Azza wa Jal did say in the Quran, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So be kind and merciful. And then you work together with life. Everyone will have certain attributes and they bring certain things to the table, as I said. And sometimes, for example, the man is not good in managing finance, or the woman is not good at managing finance. So there's not no harm. The good one with managing finance will manage the finance without belittling the other for not having the skill, but because they'll have other skills as well. So it's about how together we can operate to make this family unit, inshallah, successful, prosperous, and then we'll have be children and be a good role model for Muslims and non-Muslims. And there's nothing wrong with being, working and supporting your family, even whatever you do around the house, either one. Um, الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أمنا عائشة says that الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في مهنة أهله في مهنة أهله. So he would work and to support his family around. He would do things around the house that need to be done. That's in the Bukhari. So he would help also his wives in the housework. That leads us to point number 7. Again, with the mutual rights, it's respect, and to have mutual respect each other and appreciation and acknowledgement. Most of the relationships are looking for appreciation, acknowledgement, and respect, if not all of them. People would say that I'm looking for love, but actually, what they also say, I'm looking for acknowledgement, I'm looking for respect, I'm looking for appreciation. And these 3 things are really crucial in any relationship. So in marriage, which is the top tier, second top tier, third top tier. The first one, relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. The second one with your parents, and the second one is with your spouse. So we need to give this to each other, and it's the woman right to be treated as a queen in her own house. So outside the house could be, she could work somewhere, she would be staff somewhere, she could be maybe no one outside of her house, but in her house, she's the queen, and vice versa. The man could be nobody outside of the house, but in the house, he should be the king. And that's how we both, men and women, treating each other, the wife and husband, and the house. And this, in a way, will teach the children how they're going to be living together. As I said, Muhammad SAW did say, خيركم خيركم لأهله. So this is you being the best of the people when you try to start at home, basically. So you need to start being kind in a charitable way, and knowing that Allah Azza wa Jal will give you the rewards for that in your house. And that's by actions, by words, by gestures, everything that you can and show and demonstrate in the house. The both have the right to be consulted about. There are certain things that you can listen to. You don't have to take the opinion for both spouses. We're going to talk about the Qawamah. We're going to talk about what the women have the right to for their own, make her own decisions. But when it comes to the unit, the marriage unit, there are decisions that will affect both. So therefore, they need to have that composition, and they both have the right to be consulted, especially on matters that will affect the family unit. But taking in consideration all what you've said, so the kindness, the respect, the appreciation, the acknowledgement. So this is how you need to be consulted with your wives, or even when the wife gives you her opinion, respect it and listen to it. Ummuna Aisha used to give her opinion about things happened with Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would listen. You have to understand the context here. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is a man in his 50s. He's already established as he was one of the great merchants of Mecca. He's the prophet, the last prophet. He's the top man, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So everybody listened to him. And then he's married to a girl that is still green. She didn't see much of her life. She doesn't have much experience, and yet she would say an opinion. And Muhammad SAW would respect that and would encourage her to participate and give his opinion. And he did listen to her opinion in a few occasions. One of them when there was what we can say there was kind of media war between Quraysh and Muslims in Medina. So Quraysh would say poems about criticizing Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that used to hurt Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she said, why don't you do the same? Criticize Quraysh as well, and that's something you usually hurt Quraysh too. She said that's really good idea, and he called upon Hassan ibn Thabit, who he was one of his poets, and he says, go and criticize them. And there's more details to the story, but that's basically he took the opinion of Ummuna Aisha. The relationship, although in a way there's lots of duties and common responsibilities, common duties and responsibilities and rights, but we all know it has lots of affection as well involved. There's lots of intimacy also involved. So there's also spiritual side of it involved. The man would marry, would pray with his wife. They would go and do umrah. They would go and do hajj, inshallah, and they would do siyam and zakat together. That bring in a religious and spiritual element together. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to know our rights as an individual, as a husband, as a wife, and duties when it comes to the marriage from the religious point of view, and respect that there is a religious spiritual aspect part of it as well. There's the 10th point that I'm making in the common responsibilities and duties is forgiveness and letting go. Some men or women, they can't let go. Everything had to be, looked into details and go over it over and over and over and over. That's training to all parties. And everything have to be perfect or to a certain standard on a certain way. And we all make mistakes. And if you make a mistake, then the other spouse doesn't let go, or your spouse made a mistake, you don't let go. Let go. Not everything have to be looked into closely. We all have mistakes. We all have mistakes. We all have our sins and shortfalls. Let go. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَأَن تَعْفُوا وَتَصْفَحُوا وَتَغْفِرُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. So when you do forgive people and let go and completely forget, like completely wipe it, that's al-afu. So completely wipe it as if never happened and it will never mention again. Allah Azza wa Jalla also will give you the same traits. It will give you the same, treat you the same way. So this is one reward of it, but also it will show your appreciation to the spouse, whether that men or women. And subhanallah, we all have our shortfalls, but then we also have our attributes and really good things about us. And Muhammad sallallahu says in the hadith, لا يفرق مؤمن مؤمنة إذا كره منها خلقا أحب آخر. So it says in the hadith is, there's no mu'min, a believer, true believer, that will ever inflict injustice on the spouse, because if he didn't like something about her, he will appreciate the other qualities about her. So would never forget. He will take it as a full package and let go. Part of also the common duties is you're both responsible for fulfilling the needs of each other, not just the life needs, as in not the financial needs, if you like, but also the love and affection and the physicality also side of it, and look after each other. And yes, sometimes relationships go through dips, and to do sometimes with hormones, to do with pressures at work. We are people, we're humans, and our emotions plays up sometimes. And you might be sometimes feeling cold, withdrawing, stressed, isolated. It happens, and the spouse needs to look after you and fulfill your needs and make sure that they're there for you in a way that you love. Mating, or that physical side of relationship, that side, that has actually sadaqah. Rasul Sallallahu says, وَفِي بُضْعِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةٌ. So that's usually the sexual organs. That has a sadaqah if you do it in a halal way. So that's an indication that when you make love to your spouse, that also has a sadaqah. but do it with love, with affection, with sincerity. Do it for you knowing that you're protecting your family for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And imagine even when you have pleasure in this, and that's what Sahabi actually says, is that true? You know, we're having pleasure and we have sadaqah. They said, yes, because if you don't do it in halal, you do it in haram, and then that's the haram. So there's the opposite to it. There's a haram, but there's a halal as well. If it's not the halal way, you have a sadaqah as well. So it is, inshallah, we'll have a great rewards um, for each other. And I always say, subhanallah, marriage is one of the things that you can do and have great pleasure doing it on all aspects. So marriage could be really lovely, beautiful, um, and make you really feel fantastic about it. And yet you have rewards for it. You have sadaqah for it. You have charity all written for you. The last one, I would say, the common responsibilities is have taqwa. In everything you do, observe Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah Azza wa Jal has have said, وَخَيْرُ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. The best thing that ever you can have in this life is to have more taqwa. But He also said, Allah Azza wa Jal, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ فِي النِّسَاءِ. So observe Allah and the way you treat your women, any women. So the more you're observing Allah Azza wa Jal, the more you would be kind and apply the Islamic principles of Islam. This is in terms of the common rights, if you like. But there's also rights for the wife on her husband. And the first thing is وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So this is to be treated kindly with dignity and respect, which is what we said. There's also providing for her. And again, that's from the same ayah. So the husband needs to be the bread earner, the provider. And we're going to talk if the husband is not able to provide this. The dignity, respect, but also, which we talk about, but to give her the mahar. وَأَتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدَقَاتِهُنَّ نَحْلًا. So give them their dowries quickly. Don't delay it. Unless you agree this, but try your best to give as soon as possible. And that's her right. It's a gift and it's her right. It's not her price. And people have to understand that. Also, her right is to treat her kindly or let her go with generosity. فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَصْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Husbands are not allowed to, Muslims are not allowed to hurt anybody, and starting with parents and wives. So he cannot hurt his wife. He's not allowed to hurt his wife in any way, shape, or form, or abuse her. She has the right of her own financial independence. Her money is hers. The husband money is for the family, and then he can make allocations. So when we talk about the good financial allocation, there's at least 20% for savings, and then 30% for emergencies, and 50% for the immediate expenses, the month expenses, day-to-day expenses. So he has the right to allocate that according to what the family need and his ability as well. She does have the right to be treated kind and respect and fulfill her needs. And if there's a polygamy, there's ta'addud, for her right is to be equal to the others with money and housing. But in terms of the affection that he has for a certain one, that is forgiven for him not to have the same affection, but shouldn't be affecting the way he's treating any of the wives. The husband rights is there's a hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, إذا صلت المرأة خمسها وصامت شهرها وحفظت فرجها وأطاعت زوجها قيل ادخل الجنة من أي أبواب الجنة شئت. And that's Ibn Habban, Sahih Ibn Habban. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam basically saying, if the woman prayed her 5 prayers and fasted her month and protected her purity and honor, and obeyed her husband with what she allowed to obey, because nobody's allowed to obey anybody in what's Allah Azza wa Jalla says haram. You can only obey a person if you follow their lead, if it's in halal. Then Allah Azza wa Jal will say to her in Al Jannah, inshallah, Al Akhirah, it says, go into heaven from any doors that you want. And narratively, we know that there is 8 doors for the Jannah, and it's a great honor that Allah Azza wa Jal would say to the women, go into Jannah in any of these 8 doors. So obeying the husband plus the basics of Islam, plus and then the obeying the husband has great rewards, but only in what's halal, not to follow in what's haram. The so all what we've said earlier, so protecting the honor and respect and have dignity and kindness and what have you for both of them, which is mutual. That's his rights as well, but also to obey him in what is right only. Part of it as well is to respect his leadership, and if she wants to challenge it in a way that doesn't undermine his leadership. Same way, he should not be undermining her in the house, and as we said, respect her because treat her as a queen. Because together they need to look after the house, raise the family, raise the children in a way that they are balanced psychologically, balanced in terms of raising up, and teach them their deen properly. And the more they're cooperating together, the more they work in a beautiful dynamic. This will be reflected in the children's psychology and the way they go into life. There's a big misunderstanding about Qawamah al-Rajul. And this is something I'm going to mention now, the last thing. The Qawamah in Islam, as it's the best word, as I said earlier, it's leadership stroke guardianship. So the man is in charge of protecting the family, providing for the family, and leading the family. So protection and leading and providing, that's something that should be cooperated with, as long as you're doing it properly with the Quran and Sunnah. Allah Azza wa Jalla did say, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. So الرجال have that leadership over women with what Allah Azza wa Jalla have bestowed on each one, and gave attributes, special attributes for both gender that the other gender doesn't have. So together they make this beautiful one big unit, and with what the men have actually spent. But the leadership, it doesn't mean it have to be done in dictatorship manners. Doesn't mean that it needs to be done in forceful manners. There's different ways of leadership, and it's about the dynamics and the chemistry between the relationship between the two spouses, and that's what they both need to look into before they get married. So look into the harmony and what would work for both of them, but also looking at what Islam did say. So the guardianship and leadership doesn't mean that somebody is a dictator. It actually means that somebody needs to be ruled with justice at least, and with wisdom. Need to, when can, to spend and take the responsibilities and protect it and give the guidance and support. We've got one comment to say that marriage in Islam is a partnership. Yes, I would go with marriage as a partnership, but not with equal percentage. So, for example, there's only one CEO. It can't be 50-50. At the end of the day, somebody will have to make the decision, and the team need to follow. And that just how life is. And if you have two who make decision, what happened if we've got a tie? What's going to happen? So I accept the term partnership, but I don't accept that equal partnership in all aspects. So there are things that women would lead on, the men would, or the other things that men would lead on, and the final saying should be for the man, even if he listens to the wife advice, but he still need to give the consent. And not always things are clear in terms of black and white or halal, haram, forbidden or allowed. Sometimes both are actually allowed, and both is um, um, and both have a say. But at the end of the day, the house with the husband will have the final say. And Nia is saying yes, with the husband of the head of the household. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, jazakallah khair. Yeah. So um, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati." So all of you are shepherd, and everybody is responsible for their herd. And that and that's in Bukhari and Muslim. The narration continued to say, the husband is responsible, the wife is responsible, the maid is responsible. Everybody have certain responsibility. They should doing it in sincerity, in utmost their best ability. So it's never about dictatorship, but it's about guarding, about providing, about leading. And this is where people start getting into the gray area, into the haram area. Some people are not trained how to lead in the household. Maybe they can know how to lead at work, or depends on somebody's not have the ability to be led. So the issues will happen, but they have to seek advice and help and guidance and support. So in order for the Qawamah to be just Qawamah, to be the right Qawamah, it have to have it's about protection, providing security. It's about taking consideration the dynamics of relationship and the different attributes, the different members of the family. Give the rights before even somebody would demand for it. That will be wise, and continue dealing with wisdom and justice among the family that he's responsible to. And that's including giving even commands, because Allah Azza wa Jalla did say, order your family, order your wives to put the hijab on. Yudina min jalabibihinna, yadrubna ala jubihinna. So they put the hijab on, make the clothing really long, hide the details, doesn't show, it's not transparent. So men are ordered to order that to the family and make sure that they are doing so. But again, they have to do it in a manner that's suitable, responsible, and with wisdom, inshallah. And again, as we said, only with what Allah Azza wa Jalla did say halal. Now, there seems to be also confusion about the men. If they don't provide financially, they lose their qawama, and that's not correct. So the prophet Ayub, Jacob, he was so ill. He lost his money, he lost his health, he lost his children, he lost everybody around him, and he couldn't provide eventually for his wife, and she started working. He never lost the qawama. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was a merchant, he had money, and then when da'wah started, he gave all his money in terms of for the da'wah. And Khadija, our mother Khadija, have actually provided and contributed significantly to the da'wah as well. That means the Qawamah never gone from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he did say that later. The hadith of Aisha says, she supported me when everybody left me. She supported me with with money when everybody left me, didn't give me. So it's the money is not the only thing that will make the man into Qawamah. So it depends on the agreement. Originally, the life standard, how much they provide, it can all be done within agreement of the man. But if it happened in a time when he couldn't provide, he still have the Qawamah. But the Qawamah only in what Allah Azza wa Jalla has ordered, and in good way, in just way, with wisdom, as I said, and respect, and should be done in this way. There are a list of things that a woman have to ask permission for the husband, which is part of the duties as well. So, for example, she can't allow a stranger into the house without his permission. She shouldn't be visiting others without his permission. He could give general permission anyway. If she wants to work, she's allowed to work, but she's not allowed to affect the family life, and she still have to have a permission from him. And there are things that the husband need to give permission. She doesn't need to take permission if he's not giving her enough money, and she cannot take money without his knowledge, but only enough to support them, no more. She doesn't have to have permission of that, and that's from Hadith of Hindu bint Utbah in Abu Sufyan. The husband need to take permission from his wife in order to, with decisions that will affect the family unit. So if he's traveling away more frequently, and that will put a pressure on her emotions and feelings and the household dynamics, he'll have to have her permission without coercing her. Again, sincerity and respect is the basics that we're talking about. He's not required to have her permission if you want a second, third, fourth wife. Depends, but it's better if there's a clear conversation. Again, but depends on the dynamics again of the family. He's not allowed to, because we did say one of her rights is just to have her financial independence. He's not allowed to access her money without her permission. So you need to have her permission, again, without coercing her, without pressuring her, without being sly about it, or or abusing force's way. So that's one of the things. That's one of the things that he needs permission. And he is asking, no need to ask permission if he wants another wife. No need to have permission. Oh, sorry, it's stressing. Yes, Allah has already given him permission. Yes, correct. Yes, that's correct. As Allah Azza wa Jal has given permission. So, but it seems sometimes that people think that he needs to have permission of the wife. So we just to clarify that it's not. The husband needs permission if he's bringing strangers to the house. He needs permission. Need to let her know as strangers to the house, because she's there, and that will affect the dynamics. So anything that will affect the dynamics of the life and affect him, affect the family unit as a whole, he need to have permission and agreement with the wife. This is basically what we wanted. What I wanted to mention. And this limited time, we're supposed to be only 30 minutes. SubhanAllah, we've run over. But I hope you found this beneficial, helpful. And thank you for your comments. If you have anything, more questions, please write them in the comments, and I'll be interacting with you and have the discussion, continued discussion, inshallah, in the comments. Jazakumullah khair for your follow-up and for your tuning in. Inshallah, I'll meet you next week, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. May Allah Azza wa Jal show us all the right way. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us the right path, show us the right path, and hold us steady fast on it, Muslims and non-Muslims. And we pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to show us what's right and what's wrong, and help us to be steadfast and be good Muslims, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.